Yeah, well, confirmation then from the club means that we can finally start to give you a little bit of clarity as to the situation. The clarity is that Ole Gunar Solsgaer has left his role as Manchester United manager. Look, the club were absolutely insistent last night when we put those calls in that they would want to, first of all, take their time to reach any decision, but also to do it in the right way. I think that was very, very clear. They were clear to us they weren't going to be making a change of manager, sacking a manager after an away game. They've let that kind of dust settle. Their executives did meet to discuss Ole Gunar Solskjaer's future last night. The noises, though, came when they started coming out that those senior executives on the board had lost faith and confidence with him when we were hearing from a number of sources that Solskjaer had managed his last game. I think the writing was very much on the wall, but still, you have to wait until it's official. It is now that. So Solskjaer then leaves his position as Manchester United manager, a man who will be remembered very fondly by the fans, I think, particularly what he did in previous seasons. I mean, what he achieved in his first two seasons here at United were very, very good in many ways. He took the team forward, he rebuilt that trust, he rebuilt that affinity between the fans at Old Trafford and the players, something that had been lost under previous regimes, in particular under Jose Mourinho. He brought a sense of enjoyment about going to Manchester United again and a sense of pride in United, but results recently, by his own admission, have simply not been good enough. 5 defeats in the last 7 in the Premier League is not Manchester United form, no matter who the opposition are. And, of course, it gets to the point where his position has become untenable. Those were the words, weren't they, of Jamie Carragher last night. I think he summed up the situation pretty perfectly when you consider that humbling defeat against Watford. So a club statement then released. That decision's been made. We understand that Solskjaer is here at the training ground. Certainly has been here this morning. We've been covering this entrance. There are 2 entrances. We haven't actually seen him there, but certainly reports from inside the club suggest that Solskjaer and Ed Woodward have been at Carrington today. We have seen some of the players arrive. They were due in today mid-morning for that recovery session because, as we've been talking about, after that defeat, they've got to go to Villarreal. That game comes up very, very quickly on Tuesday night because tomorrow they'll have that 1 day of preparation. Tomorrow involves all of the usual pre-match media activities, including open training for the cameras to film, including the management and player press conference as well. And then comes the crucial game itself. So time has been of the essence. Also interesting that when you consider that Manchester United is owned by the Glazers, they're based in Florida, but also with the club floated on the New York Stock Exchange. It's really important the club was seen to be making a decision that takes control of the situation. That's, I think, why we've got the statement this morning today. So Solskjaer leaves. Confirmation as well then that Michael Carrick will take charge of that game against Villarreal. Michael Carrick, who was himself a favourite amongst Manchester United fans as a player, brought into Ole Gunar Solskjaer's coaching staff. Questions will be raised, though, I think. Solskjaer is not wholly responsible for the situation because David De Gea admitted as much in his post-match interview yesterday. As much as the manager does, unfortunately, that's where the buck stops. His head is always on the chopping block. His coaching staff have taken a fair amount of flack, and De Gea, by his own admission, says that the players themselves also have to be fairly introspective. So Carrick has been part of that inner sanctum of Solskjaer's coaching team. So there will be some scrutiny, that's for sure, on him. United saying they will then look to appoint an interim manager until the end of the season. So whether that means that someone like a Zinedine Zidane or a Brendan Rodgers or other names that have been mentioned and speculated about would be on their hit list immediately, doesn't sound that way, does it? If they're talking about an interim to the end of the season, perhaps this is Carrick's opportunity to audition himself for the job. We mentioned earlier that Darren Fletcher, the technical director, also has been suggested as a possible name. But anyway, what we can say for certain today is that Solskjaer has now left his position. Michael Carrick will be preparing the team, the players, for that game against Villarreal on Tuesday.